Berjaya Corp plans to privatise subsidiary Berjaya Land and sell Berjaya Sports Toto under the Diversified Group's Strategic Transformation Plan, which includes a proposed hospitality REIT. BCorp Group CEO Abdul Jalil Abdul Rasheed says that the group has not set a timeline to privatise B-Land, but hopes that the company will do it sooner rather than later. According to him, it is all down to funding and whether the money is best spent taking the stock off the market or spending it elsewhere. As B-Land owns a lot of companies, Abdul Jalil says BCorp sees the need to rationalise it, and the best way to do so is through privatisation. He also explains that the group's plan to sell BToto is due to the fact that the number forecast operator is in a highly regulated business. According to him, BCorp's preference is to focus on businesses that are not highly regulated. However, there is no concrete timeline on when to do so, as BToto gives good dividends. Meanwhile, BCorp plans to set up a hospitality REIT which focuses on 5-star hotels in developed countries including Japan, as it looks to exit from other markets where it is no longer competitive. Abdul Jalil says BCorp is slowly exiting hospitality markets in China and Vietnam, and also put its hotel assets in Sri Lanka, Vietnam and the Philippines up for sale. He says the long-term plan is to include other 5-star hotels into the REIT that are not necessarily owned by BCorp. The Cabinet has agreed to undertake a revamp of Lembaga Tabung Haji to improve its operations and management, the Ministry of Finance said today. This will include a new operating model for the Pilgrim Fund, which will be reviewed jointly by the Prime Minister's Department, MOF, Bank Negara and Tabung Haji. The decisions were reached during the Cabinet's meeting on July 14th. Putrajaya also plans to list the institution as a prescribed Islamic financial institution under the purview of BNM, under Section 223 of the Islamic Finance Services Act 2013, and will review the Tabung Haji 1995 Act for that. The statement also reassured that the depositors' savings remain safe and secured by the government. On Wednesday evening, Deputy PM Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob announced that the government would set up a Royal Commission of Inquiry to investigate LTH's issues. MOF says the RCI is to review the fund's audit findings by consultants from 2014 to 2018, as well as recovery measures undertaken up until 2020. However, this commission's scope will not include the continuing revamp and restructuring efforts to improve governance in LTH. The Pilgrim Fund has been subject to restructuring efforts since 2018 after the then Pakatan Harapan administration found that LTH's liabilities were more than its assets amid high exposure to the equity market and a number of bad business deals. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin says the government is mulling the possibility of giving some leeway to individuals who have completed their vaccination, Bernama reports. This includes allowing them to dine at restaurants and to travel interstate. The PM says he had asked the Special Committee for Ensuring Access to COVID-19 Vaccine Supply to look into relaxing the movement control for the fully vaccinated. He says that this shows that while the government is handling the COVID-19 situation, people's lives can gradually return to normal. Malaysia's daily COVID-19 vaccination rate exceeded 400,000 doses for the third straight day, with 434,828 doses administered on July 14th, JKJAV tweeted. Of that, 279,938 went to first dose recipients, while 154,890 individuals were given their second dose. However, new COVID-19 cases also surged to 13,215 today, a 1,597 increase from the 11,618 recorded on July 14th. Selangor continued to lead in the number of new cases with 6,120 recorded, making it the first time the state breached the 6,000 mark. Share prices of Iskandar Waterfront City and Ecoverse, both companies linked to businessman Tan Sri Lim Kang Hu, fell in morning trade following the collapse of the Bandar Malaysia deal yesterday. In mid-morning, IWCT share price slid 1.33% to 37 cent after falling to a low of 36.5 cent. It closed unchanged at 37.5 cent. Ecoverse's share price slipped 2.5% to 38.5 cent, a touch higher than its intraday low of 38 cent, before the counter also ended the day unchanged at 39.5 cent. To recap, IWCT's major shareholder Iskandar Waterfront Holdings announced that the share sale agreement for the planned acquisition of a 60% stake in Bandar Malaysia, a mammoth property development project within the site of the Sungai Besi Airport, had lapsed. As such, Ecoverse announced today that it would not proceed with its heads of agreement with IWH to buy into the Bandar Malaysia project following the lapse of the sale, where the 60% stake carried a price tag of 7.4 billion ringgit. AmBank Malaysia, via its Labuan offshore branch, has initiated a fresh statutory demand against Singapore-listed Falcon Energy Group. This is for a loan repayment of $24.3 million. Falcon Energy Chairman and CEO Tan Piong Tia said in a filing with the Singapore Exchange that it had received the statutory demand dated July 14th from the solicitors of AmBank's Labuan offshore branch. He explains that the alleged amount of $24.3 million outstanding as at July 13, 2021 was from various term loans and revolving credit facilities and included interest and late payment interests. Tan says that the company is currently seeking legal advice and any further announcements will be made to SGX when appropriate. According to him, Falcon Energy, which is an oil and gas services provider, remains committed to the company's restructuring. AmBank is an operating unit under AMMB Holdings.